Hello guys, welcome to today's video. Let us see how we can create an interactive side menu that has a hover effect and can also open a drop down menu using components in Figma. So for this tutorial, I'm going to work with a grayscale color palette and a single color. Although this is not the standard practice, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to work with this. So I just need a single color, a grayscale color, and our icons. So the page is already here. We just need to build the side menu, and the logo is already available, so we don't need to build it. If you want to learn how to build something like this, you can let me know in the comments. And please, if you have any question as we move along, don't hesitate to ask your questions in the comment section. I will be very much available to answer your questions. Yeah, so let's proceed. So I have my grayscale color. So what we are going to do is we are going to start with the first icon. So if you're wondering which icon library I'm using Solar Icon Library. So you can get it on Figma library, Figma community rather, not Figma library, Figma community. So the first thing we are going to do is to start out by building our components. So we majorly need a component because we want to make it interactive. So I'm going to start with the first icon. I'm just going to pick a duplicate of that icon because the icon is a component. So I have a page where I pasted all the icons from Solar Icons. So the page is here. Yes, so this is the page. So you can see all of the icons. So I'm just picking the icons. They're already in component format. So I'm just picking it and using it on my page. So let's proceed. So after bringing out the first icon, I'm going to type my text. So I can call this maybe menu item. Let's just call it item, right? So I'm just going to place it here. So I'm going to work with one of my grayscale color for the icon and also for the text. So for the text, I'm going to be using this. No, that is too light. Let's use something a little bit darker. Let me use 6. I think 6 is good enough. Then also for the icon, I'm going to use 6 as well. So I'm going to make another duplicate of this icon. Well, let me just switch it to a different icon so that you won't be confused. So let me bring in a second icon from the icon library. Call it I think down. That's what will be best for this example. So let me just look for a down arrow, which is this. So the arrow format, the icon format is broken, so I'm just going to switch it to linear or outlined. Anyone that you choose is okay. So I'm going to change the color of the icon to, I'm going to change it to 6. Yeah. So I'm going to combine these 3 in an auto layout frame. So I'm going to select 3 of them and apply auto layout. So I'm going to call this item, or let me call it menu item. Then I'm going to create a component with it. So once I create a component, we want to add some properties to this component, right? So we want to be able to hide and change this text easily. So I'm going to add a text property. So I'm going to add a text property and call it label, right? Then we want to be able to easily hide this icon. So let me bring out an instance of this component so that we can use it for testing. So here you can see, because I've already added the text property, I can easily change it to home, for example, and you can see. Then here I'm going to add a layer property and also an instance switch property, right? Instance swap property. So I'm going to add a layer property first. So I'll call this icon. No, not icon. Control Z. Oops. Yeah. So I'm going to call it left icon. left icon, then I'll create the property. So what I want to do with this is that I want to be able to easily switch it. So I can switch it on and switch it off just like this. And I go back to the main component, then I will add another instance swap property to this because it's an icon, and I want to be able to swap the icon easily for another icon. So I'm going to call this left icon again, but this time around, because you can't add two properties of the same name, so I'm going to just add an icon to it. So I usually use this, something that looks like a swap icon. Then I will create a property. So now you can see that we can easily pick another icon and replace it just like that. So then we go to the next one. I'm going to also do the same thing that I did for this icon. I'm going to do it on this icon on the right. So instead of left icon, now we call it right icon. So right icon, create property, then I create an instance swap property, and I call it right icon. I know you already know what I am going to do. I'm going to add the icon again. So if you are wondering how I'm able to open the icon tab, if you're using the Windows, I only know for Windows because I am using the Windows. When you press Windows plus period, Windows plus full stop, then you'll be able to open it. So Windows plus full stop opens the icon tab. Then you can select any icon. You can use, emoji. I've been calling it icon. It's an emoji, so you can use emoji. So that's it for the base component. So we are going to now create the states of this component. So we want to have hover effect on the menu. So even before that, we need to add some settings to this. So we want to add some paddings to the top and we want to add horizontal padding and vertical padding. So we can add horizontal padding of 12, vertical padding of 12, right? So we can increase this, maybe let the horizontal padding be more than the vertical padding, and the gap in between too, we can reduce it. 15 is maybe too much, let's use 8 or 12. Then the horizontal padding, let's give it 16, and the vertical padding 10. So something like that. Then we can now create a variant for this component. So I'll just click on this and I'll be able to add a variant. So now I want to create not just one variant, I want to create multiple variants for this, like about 3 variants. I want to have the default state, the hover state, and the focus state. So this is the default state, which we have this color for the text and icon, and the hover state, I want to have this color for the hover state. Not this color, though I can use this color, right? But I don't want to go with color. I just want to go with a darker shade of this gray. So I'm just going to come here because all of them have the same color. So I'm just going to change the color from here. Then I'm going to pick 8 just like that. So I think I should drop this to 5. I think I should drop the color to 5. So that it will look very different from each other. So that when you hover, it becomes like this. Then when it is selected, which is the focus, then I can now use the blue. I can now use this blue for the focus. So now we're going to name this. So we're going to call this status, right? Then for the status, this will be default. Write it with capital with small letter, lowercase default. Then this will be our hover, and this will be focus or active, whichever one you call it is okay. So you might want to put some tags here just to label it, right? So I'm just going to write it out, default this doesn't have to be this doesn't have to have the major format that this has. It can just be anything. So I'm going to use font size 12 because I want it to be small, and it can be black. I'll just add an auto layout to it, and I will fill it with white. Then I can round the corners. And make it look like that. Just something that looks like a tag that can serve as a label. Then I'm going to call it tag. Then I'm going to place it here. Yeah, just it's not inside, just above, just on top of the component. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this. I'm going to make a duplicate of the tag. Do this. So I'll call this hover, and I'll call this focus. Right? So now we need to have two levels of this because we want to have the mother item and the child item. So this one can be seen, we can call it level 1. So for us to call it level 1, we need to add a variant. So I'm going to put this here and call it level 1. So I'll click the main component and add a variant. I'll call it level 2, or I'll call it level. Let me just call it level. Then I'll call this one 01, level 01. So that means all of them will be level 1. Then I'm going to make a duplicate. I'll just select the 3 of them and make a duplicate beneath. Then let's bring this one down. Then I'm going to expand it a bit. Then I'm going to call this level 2. Oops, that's my bad. So I'm going to call this level 2. So the same thing, I'm going to select these 3. Then instead of 01 here, we have 02. Right? So we are good to go. So now when you come here, you can easily say you can switch you can switch the state from default to hover to focus. So now let's make our focus have a fill. So I think we should have a fill for our focus. So we can give it a white fill. So let's give it a little bit of rounded corners. So I want to move this down a bit, just like that. So this can align with this. So let's give it a little bit of rounded corner. So maybe like 8 pixel round corner radius is good enough. So it's only when it's selected that you are going to see it like this. So for level 2, we are going to make a little change. So for level 2, we don't really need to have more than level 1 and 2 because I don't see it as a good practice when you have 3 levels of menu, but you can do it if you want to do it. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to stop at level 2. So for level 2, we don't want level 2 to have any icon. We just want level 2 to have like something that can indicate that it's been selected. So we are going to remove both icons for the hover. For the default state, I'm going to just delete. Then I'm going to increase the padding on the right and left to 24. So let's make this length fixed. So we have a length of 134 for all of them. So I'm going to make this one 134 as well. 134. So I want it to be fixed. Then the item, I want to place it at the center, just like that for every one of them. Center. Right? So what I majorly want here is that I want to just have a small dot that will just indicate that this has been selected when it has been selected. So I want to have it on the focus state. That's for the level 2. So I'm going to do the same thing to this and delete this 2. Then I'm going to create a small circle. Just create a circle with the circle 2. Then I'm going to put it on 10 by 10. Then I'm going to fill it with maybe a yellow color. I think a yellow color would do something like this. Yeah, something like this. Then I'm going to cut it, Ctrl X, and I'm going to replace this icon with it. And I'm going to remove this because I don't need it. So now, seeing this is not looking too good because I want this to sit on the same line with this. So what I'm going to do is give it a space between, right? Not space between per se. Let's not use space between. Let's just align it to the left, then give it like more space between. So let's add like 4 pixels to this, or so yeah, 24 is okay. 24 gap. So I'm going to do the same to this 24 gap. So we can say we're good to go. So now we have been able to create this. So we are going to create one more component, which we are going to call anchor component. So this can stand as a single menu, while for the one that is going to have the drop down menu will be the anchor menu, or we can just call it drop down menu. So I'm going to create it with this one. So I'm going to have this. I'm going to have an auto layout frame. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this. Then I'll put these two in an auto layout frame. Then I will create about five duplicates of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after creating the 5 components, so the major one will be the level 1 component, while these other ones we switch them to level 2, just like that. So this is the focus state, of course. So let's take it back to default and all of this to default. So I'm beginning to think we should now have the focus state of this. We should remove the fill. We can turn it off. We might still want to use it later. So when we have this on the focus state, then it's going to look like that. Yeah. So I think that's good enough. So we're going to call this drop down menu, or drop down menu item. I think that sounds better. Drop down menu item. Then I'm going to create a component with it. So I'm going to turn off 2 of these manually. So we're going to have 2 by default. Then if you need more, then you can review the remaining 2. So I'm going to create a variant of this also, like this. So for the variant, I'm going to turn off these 2 for one of them, and I'm going to leave the 2 open. So this will be the open state and this will be the closed state. So we can call it on and off. So I'm just going to swap the positions of the 2 of them so that on will be up and off will be down. So I'm going to call this one on. So I'll just call this one state, and I'll call this on, and I'll call this one off, right? So I can easily bring this out, switch on and off, right? So again, this is not going to happen automatically, so we have to make sure that this is clickable, right? So I'm going to switch to prototype mode, then I'll connect this, only the first one. I'm going to connect it to the second variant, and I'll leave it on click, let it switch to this instant. You can do smart animates, right? So on this, before I forget, okay, let me connect it first, then I'm going to return that favor to this and say smart animate. Just leave it like that. Then we'll switch back to design mode. Then one thing we want to change here is that when this thing switches to this, when it's open, we want this arrow to be facing up. So I'm going to switch the arrow like this. So on the right, for the right icon, so Figma used to mess up the alignment of this. So let's go and quickly arrange it. So I'll just come back to this menu item. So label comes first. Label is supposed to come first after level. then left icon comes after right icon, then the visibility of left icon comes first before the instance swap, then the visibility of right icon comes before the instance swap. So let's come, you can actually leave it without arranging it, but I just like to arrange it. So now we can see, so we can change the text and we can switch the icon on the right. So I'm going to switch the icon on the right to up like this. So when it is open, the icon faces up, and when it is closed like this, it comes down, right? So we've already created the what's it called, we've done the prototyping. So let us just try to test it out and see if it works first before we go ahead to put it inside the main page. So let's test it out. So I'm going to I just added a frame behind it, then I'm going to try to preview it. Yes, so if I click this, so something is wrong with our prototype. So let me check again. On click, on this on click. So let me put it on, let me turn it off first, and I come back here, and I click, it opens, I click, it closes, click open, click close, click open, click close. So instead of calling this one home, right, let's call it child, so that we'll be able to understand the difference between the home and the child, right? So home, child. So I hope you are getting to this point. So let's go ahead and now build our side menu. So we can just go ahead and use this as our side menu. So we can just call this side menu. Then we can make a duplicate of this. So mind you, this is our side menu, and this is a drop down menu. So if we are going to replicate the menu we created earlier, let me show that menu. Yeah, so if we are going to replicate this, we have home, overview, users, report. So this is the only one that has the drop down. So we should have only one drop down menu, and we should have every other thing as a single menu. So let's go back. So we have home. So this is going to be our users, because this is the only drop down menu that we have. So yes, another thing that I forgot here, so for us to be able to easily change the name without having to click and go inside these components, we can add nested instance properties. So we just add nested instances, and we'll say menu items, like that to show. So once we click it, we can easily change the name. So we'll call this users, right? Then bring it down. Then we are going to bring one of these and place it here. So they look alike, but they are not the same. So we're going to place the two of them inside an auto layout frame. So we are also going to apply the auto layout to this frame. So we can have like 40 pixels up and down, then we can have maybe 24 left and right. So the gap here can be 0, can leave it at 0. So this will be home. So we're going to turn off the right icon and leave only the left icon. So we're going to call it home. So yeah, as you can see, this thing is going to be made. That's because we did not set the alignment of this auto layout to the left. So we're supposed to set it to the left like that. So we're going to make duplicates of this. So we have home, we have overview. So remember, we have home, we have overview. Overview, this is the icon for overview. So because the icon is already in our icon library, we can easily swap it out for this. So the name of this icon on the layer panel is pie chart. So I'm going to come here, swap it out and type pie chart. So this is the icon. So yes, if you notice, this color is deeper than this. That's because there are sometimes that when you switch icons like this, the color just decides to overwrite the one that you have set. So you just copy the color and put it back, and that's the solution. The issue is solved. So so let's create the third menu. We have created home, users, overview. Then we need report, log, and settings. So we're going to make a duplicate of this. Report, log, and settings. So we're going to call this reports. Then we switch the icon for reports, which is this. Then logs. For logs, let's switch again and see. Yes, we have it here. Then settings. So we're going to search for settings, and we're going to add it there, just like that. So for user, we've not changed the left icon, so let's change it to users. Exactly. So again, the color has changed, so let us correct that. That's it. So this is our icon, our side menu being created. So I'm going to bring it into the page, right? Then I'm going to give it a fill of F9. This fill is actually from my color scale, but let me go and pick it from the color scale so that you look at I'm just working without making reference to the color scale that I created earlier. So this is the color scale. So that's it. So I'm going to give it a rounded corner of 12. Then I'm going to apply some shadows, just a subtle shadow, not too thick. So I'm going to give it like 10. I'm going to blur it out. I'm going to give it some x-axis effect and probably bring it to like 14 and blur it out very well. Maybe spread it out a little bit. I don't want to spread it too much, so let's leave it like that. I think this is good enough. Then I'm going to bring it to somewhere here, and I'm going to extend it downwards, so it doesn't have to touch the bottom, depending on your own style of design. But from this style, I don't want it to touch the bottom. Then I'm going to move it a little bit closer to the wall of the page, and there you go. I have my side menu. And so for these users, so let's say the users that we have, maybe let's just create 2 random users. So I'm going to switch this on. So instead of calling it child, I can call it maybe teachers, for example, and students. So one last thing that we have to do is to make a prototype inside this component. So I'm going to switch to prototype mode, and I'm going to connect this to this. So when you hover on this, I want it to switch to this. So I'm going to connect this to this and say on hover, not on click, on hover, while hovering. Yeah. So while hovering, I want it to switch to this. The same thing applicable to this. When you hover, I want it to switch to this, and when you click this, I want it to switch to this, right? When you click this, I want it to switch to this. So usually I won't advise you to do the second prototyping here for the click, because most of the time when you're clicking, you are mostly going to switch to a different page. So it will be better to convert the entire side menu to a component, then connect them to the pages as you wish, then make a variant, make an instance of it and place it inside here. Then the major components will be outside, where you can connect to pages. So let us see how this looks. So I want to present this. So I'm going to, yes. So let's see, you can see the hover effect. So it might not look like the exact example that I showed you, but I decided to switch it up a bit. So when I hover, it becomes the color becomes darker. You can see when I hover, the color becomes darker. And if I click this, look at what it's going to show us. If I click this, you can see. If I click this, you can see. You can see. So that is how you create a side menu. If you have a question, let me know in the comment section, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you have any question, kindly drop it in the comment and I will surely respond. Also, if you want me to create videos around a particular topic, you can also drop it in the comment section. I will see what I can do, and hopefully I can create a video for you. So that will be all for this video, and I will see you in the next video.